Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today I am absolutely shot from the long day that I had. Um, Normal work then, replaced front brakes yesterday, rear brakes today, got to the rotor. This was the only rotor that's going to need to be replaced, so that's staying up like that for now. And then with my work truck, my Volvo station wagon, we picked up this little cherry on the way home from New York City. Nice little trailer, metal bottom, so it can fit my ride-on mower, could fit mulch and soil and things I need for the ranch, so I could do pick up things, side of the road. Laura likes to redo furniture. Anyways, it beats trying to throw everything up on top of the roof rack. People look at you funny when you're doing that on a station wagon. So yeah, got a great deal on that. Went to Central Park with Laura, Stella to see my daughter Franny in New York City, and we had a great lunch together, walked around. That was fun. But I still have some evergreen work to do, so we'll pick something easy. And that's what we're going to do with the rest of today before the sun gets down over the horizon. So that's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, y'all. So we're going to keep it simple tonight. This is one of my favorite plantings. This is a Japanese black pine forest, all grown from seed. And notice last year I added some pops of white marble chips, some nice plush green moss, and that's actually looking pretty nice. So, yeah, you see the shape I kind of like. Start in where the edges are about the same, and then just off center have the most dominant tree being that nice tall apex. So I just think I'm going to take a little bit of the extra life out of this one, just early season, and then depending on the types of buds we get kicking off and things like that, I may probably in July do it again. You can do that with some of the faster growing pines. You can prune them a couple of different times throughout the year. So this would be the first time I would do it twice. These are going on 4 years old. They grow a little bit faster and they have sharper, more aggressive needles than my white and red pines and Pinus aristata. So that would be the difference I've noticed. They are definitely my favorite thus far. All right. All right, so got this one. It's growing like crazy right at the middle of the planting, right at the viewer. So I don't want to take the whole branch out, but I will take all of last year's growth out, and maybe we'll get some interior budding here. I'd like to have a tree with a little bit tighter foliage there, bunch of branching, maybe fill it out nice. But this is reaching the end of the pot right about here. So just for now, I'm going to leave that. Probably in the future get rid of that. So I'm going to do the obvious one, the tallest of all the apex. And bring it back. Basically taking off. This thing got like 2 flushes of growth last year. It got the spring growth, and then it got like a late summer. And I swear, even with it just coming out of winter, like some of it opened up and extended. I know that sounds crazy, but I really think it could have happened. Or I wasn't paying attention and already have it. Yeah, this is actually making it easy for me. I'm just going to go around and take out the late growth, because that's really what's extending this. I gotta tell you, if you have sensitive hands, don't mess with Japanese black pines without gloves on, because they're just poking the hell out of me. This is a young one, so I can imagine the older they get, they're probably years. Oh, question of the day on pines. Have you heard of a Bosnian? Yeah, Bosnian pine. Anyways, they apparently do the best in pots of all the pines. So, found that interesting because I'd never heard of one or seen one clearly in bonsai, in my broskies. So, yeah, the Bosnian pine. There's another name for it that's really simple, and for some reason I can't think of it off the top of my head, but sorry. Can't tell if I like this yet or not. This one here, this branch is growing right into the other tree, so I'll get rid of that. This one is growing back and in between these two trees, so I'm going to take that totally out because additionally it was exactly what my broski Ian would call a T-branch, exactly on the other side of the trunk, growing straight out, so that's unsightly. Getting rid of that. Down here I have some more branching extending towards the viewer, towards you. Outside of the pot, there's actually a bunch of branches down here, and I left them all for a reason, thinking it would be cool to have one really bushy one. So I'm going to continue that. I'm actually going to take off the height on that guy and this extra long branch coming out here. I'd like to see it kind of be a bushier, tighter one with tons of branching early on, and then maybe I either make a decision or I wire them in different directions. I want to take this one shorter, but I know that I have time in the future to do so, so I'm going to leave that. Back here, I've got these two parallel to each other, growing back and up in the same exact direction. This one looks like it would be a good start branch. It leaves enough interest for the trunk line there, so I'm going to take out the lower one. And there's one behind, a few weak buds behind. I'll take those out as well. This front tree, I'm not going to want anything low, so there is a bunch. Just going to nip those out. Pop, pop, pop. Yeah, I'm excited about just perfecting this back wall here, making sure everything is tidied up before moving on. I have a cold week coming where I'm going to have to bring everything in, so there was no point in even setting up the maples and things like that, because they're definitely going inside. So I'm only working with my cold hardiest of trees, and really trying to get, this evergreen side nice and squared away and organized. Cool. Just going to go around. With the exception of this tree, I'm going to take out the lower branching on everything. It's just too low. And I'd rather grow slowly. I don't necessarily need sacrificial branches. I don't have any inverse taper, which is where it's wider up top than it is down low. That's a no-no. So, yeah, I don't have to worry about any of that. Back here, we have two branches, one's growing around the other. Actually, I don't like either of them, so I'm going to take them both out. Yeah. See, this is kind of tasteful, these three coming out, even though it might create a bulge, actually. So this is going into a nice area of its own. And this is filling some negative space back here, but this one's going right into the trunk line here, so I'll take this one out. And then back here, I'm going to take these low ones out, because if you could see, this thing has really some nice branching up top already. And that's an interesting tree. And it's nice and thick at the bottom already, so not leaving any branching to thicken up down there once again. Oh. Cool. I'm just gathering a pile of those sharp needles so I could throw them in a garbage pot afterwards. I don't want to lay them down even with my dogs running around. Get one up in their paws. So the only tree I would change would be this one, but in the short term, it's pretty cool. Tons and tons of branches down there. I'd kind of like this one to fill out and be an interesting piece to the front of the planting. All of these kind of have a higher start to their canopy. Let me see it from back here. I don't want to take it down anymore. Do I want to take you out? Alright. So I'm going to take that out. And then back here, there's some more growth. I'll take that out. And that keeps this as my apex, just off center. All right, that's cool. I like that. That's just a nice early season run at it. Let's see here. Early season. Let's see, look at all these branches. It's wild. Cool. Yeah, I'll clean up, the chips and the moss will fill in. I might pull some away from the trunks. But we got a nice shape going into this season, so we'll keep an eye on it. I really love this planting. And if you missed the video on me up doing this one, that one has its own story. All right, boom. Busy day, fun day. It seems a little unreal that I started the day here, went to New York City, spent time with Franny in Central Park, which is just incredible. I swear you get lost in a different part each time. Awesome natural beauty, the rocks and the trees and just the way they've set up the paths and keep it really, really well manicured. You feel like you're not in a huge city at all. So anyways, I love Central Park, not a big fan of big cities. But Franny loves it, so that's all that matters, and I will stop rambling. Y'all have a great weekend. I'm Jared Paul for The Ranch, from my family to yours. Cheers.